see. Okay, and let me see. It looks like
You notice this rabbi sees this lady and say, "How's everything? Everything is good."
We're live now, by the way.
My daughter. I told you last time she got divorced from a lawyer, but now she got remarried to a doctor. But now she's getting divorced from the doctor, but she's getting remarried to a psychiatrist. So and the rabbi goes, such nachas.
Okay, hit it with Tutsu, Leib.
Okay, sing the niggin. Let's go.
Dabu daba velo yakum. Uju etave sufar. Dabu daba velo yakum. Immanuel. Uju etave sufar. Dabu daba velo yakum. Immanuel.
If anybody noticed, thank you, boys. If anybody noticed, there were no musical instruments tonight. And there's a reason for that. Because we're counting the sphera. And since we're counting the sphera, we don't listen or play music at this time. Is anybody here who didn't count yet tonight?
Yes, sir.
You? Okay, can you count for the audience? Okay.
Yesterday was
12. Yesterday was 12. Okay, listen up, everybody. Yidon is going to say the bracha and counting the Omer, and then when he says today is the specific day of the Omer, I want everybody who's listening to answer, follow, and say the words that he's saying. You'll say it slowly. Amen. That's slowly. What he said was today is the 13th day. It's 1 week and 6 days of the Omer. Now everybody should say that. Just say it out loud where you are. Today is the 13th day of the Omer. It's 1 week and 6 days of the Omer. And it is a commandment of Hashem that we count the days from when we left Egypt until we got the Torah and Har Sinai. Well, I wouldn't call it good exactly. Okay? Now, the story for tonight is called a Chassidus kiss. It was a year after the passing of the Rebbe Marash, but it was before the Rebbe Rashab accepted the crown of leadership of the Chabad movement. At that time, the Rashab lived in a 2-room apartment. He had a child, but they lived only in 2 rooms. I guess that's with the kitchen, with the dining room, with the bedrooms, with the baby's playroom, all in 2 rooms. As he learned Torah with his learning partner, the Rashab's 4-year-old son, who would become the previous Rebbe, slept nearby in a trundle bed. The Rebbe Rashab's learning partner glanced at the sleeping boy and said, "A light of pure, clear thought is shining from the child's face." The Rebbe Rashab stood up to kiss his son, but he stopped before delivering the kiss. He recalled that besides offering sacrifices in the Holy Temple, the Jews also brought silver and gold to build and beautify it. And with this in mind, the Rashab resolved to exchange the physical kiss with a Hasidic discourse, a mimer. And the mimer he decided to give in exchange for the kiss is, how great are your works, Hashem. When the previous Rebbe grew up from his 4-year-old level to become 12 years old, his father gave him the handwritten mimer and said, this is a Chassidus kiss. And soon I'll explain to you the meaning of what is written here in this mimer.
I just want to say, the light reflecting, your thought is reflecting from his face.
Absolutely. He's a nice kid. When the previous Rebbe turned 16, his father told him the story of the Hasidic kiss that had taken place back in the 2-room apartment. At that time, the Rashab could have already been Rebbe. At the time when that story happened in the 2-room apartment, he already could have been Rebbe if he accepted it. Nevertheless, he was content to live in a 2-room apartment and serve Hashem happily and with a whole heart. Before explaining the greatness of a kiss and even more powerful expression of essential love embodied in a mimer, our Rebbe contrasted the Rashab's residence to our present lifestyle and our need to spend so much time and effort on physical needs to the detriment of spiritual gain. The Rebbe then explains that a kiss connotes essential love. In fact, no words can communicate the level of love expressed in a kiss. Especially since we're speaking about a kiss to a child who slept with a ray of pure thought shining from his face. How much more so a kiss from a Rebbe to a son who would eventually fill his father's place as Rebbe. From a different perspective, the love of a father for a child is not merely understood as an expression of nature, but is also a principle in Torah. We cry to Hashem, have mercy on us, like a father has mercy on his children. Furthermore, we call him Merciful Father, or Father of Mercies. A father and son are essentially one essence. If this precious kiss was being traded for a Hasidic discourse, for a mimer, then we can have an inkling of how precious that mimer gift must be. How great is the connection of a kiss beyond words. And if a Rebbe is trading that kiss for a mimer, imagine the greatness of the connection between the people that are connected through that gift. Nevertheless, a Rebbe says that in light of the essential power of love expressed in a kiss, how can it be traded for a mimer? At first glance, a mimer is merely an expression of intellect. It's only an explanation in words of some godly topic. On the other hand, since the Rashab exchanged a kiss for it, we must say that the mimer does connote a greater expression of love, and that there is something deeper in the mimer than in the kiss. A Rebbe explains that a kiss from a father to a son indicates an expression of a sense of love, but in a mimer, like the mimer that he gave, how great are your works, Hashem, is contained the actual essence of the Rebbe. The Rebbe's essence is in the discourse that he gives us. Just as Hashem writes himself into the Torah, A tzaddik writes his essence into the discourse he delivers. When the young previous Rebbe became emotional, witnessing the last moments of his father's life, the Rebbe Rashab told him, I am going to heaven, but the writings which contain my essence, I'm leaving here. That's the story. When a father kisses a son, it's a wonderful outpouring of love. But the nachas the father gets when the son returns the kiss is incomparable. Those of us poor and dust believe that in a similar matter, the Rebbe receives great nachas whenever we learn a mimer that he has given us. The mimer he gives us is a kiss from him. And when we learn the mimer, we are giving him a kiss back. Everybody knows that our program is about bringing Mashiach. And the Rebbe said one of the ways to hasten the coming Mashiach is to tell Hashem ad masa. Until when? When are you going to come and reveal yourself? Since there's no music tonight, I'm going to share with you my version of ad masa. How long, Hashem? Until you reveal yourself. Oh, Tati, our king, you know it. Why don't you do a good thing? And please return with your people. And the angels all sing, oh, glorious king, won't you please return with your people? They made you a crown. Won't you come back to town? And please return with your people. Oh, Tati, our king, you know it don't mean a thing unless you please return with your people. Now come on, children. We're gonna have some fun. You ain't seen nothing like the Holy One. Tell me how long?
How long?
Do I have to wait? Can I get Mashiach now? Almost hesitate. Like Mendel says, da 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 pa,
Bam, ba-dam, ba,
da
ba,
da da pa pa.
ba-da, ba-da,
Ay,
bam,
mama,
bam.
mama. Hey, ay, ay, mama. Hey, mama.
Ba-dam, ba-da, bam, bam, bam.
Hey, ay. Hey, mama. Hey, ay. You know, I once met a guy who, a Swedish guy, was learning Kabbalah. So he told me this really smart thing. He said, you know why when you sing a Jewish song, you sing it in terms of ah, ya, ya. Ah, ya, ya.
Why is that, Betzalel?
He said, because it's a Shem Havaya. He said, you're saying the Shem Havaya, a Yud and a Hey and a Vav and a Hey. I thought it was
That's
very
brilliant.
nice. Brilliant. Very beautiful. So on this date when was it? Nun Base? No, Nun Aleph. And this date, in the 28th of Nisan and Nun Aleph, the Rebbe told us, I did everything that I can, and now I'm leaving it up to you to bring Mashiach. The Rebbe gave it to us to bring Mashiach. You know about it, Leif? Huh? You heard about it?
I was there.
Now, the way almost everybody reads that,
Labe was there, you know.
Leif was there. The way everybody reads it is that we didn't do it. But the way I read it is we did do it, because later on the Rebbe said the Berurim are done all the work is done. Leviathan is on the table. So if it's true the way I'm reading it, so how come Mashiach's not here yet?
Like Bezalel says, all the work is done. Don't you think it's time we could have some fun?
Have some fun. I'm ready. Okay, so I think last week, Gimel Elef, did you say the Chassidus last week?
Well, it was the last time. It wasn't last week, but yeah.
Whenever, the last time.
Last week it was.
3 weeks ago.
Yes,
Well,
exactly.
the last time. You guys want to do a niggin a little bit before we go in? Huh? He always wants to sing a niggin.
Yours
Sing a
sounded better
niggin.
than anything I've had since.
Okay, so I once told this thing that I'm going to tell, and Gimel Elef gave it over. But since it's a few weeks and we probably forgot, I'm going to go back into the object of the metaphor of light on high, the supernal godly light, is the way Hashem enlivens the created worlds. And not only he enlivens them, he brings them into being. The dynamic of existence from non-existence. Hashem creates the world from nothing. And there's two ways to connect to this wisdom. One way is you can have a realization, a feeling of it in yourself. You look around and say, hey, where did I come from? What is this moment that I'm in? It didn't exist before. All of a sudden, I exist. And there's another way to experience it by understanding how it works. That, like science says, every effect has a cause. Anybody have a problem with that? Every effect has a cause. And the Rambam says that you cannot go back infinitely with cause and effect. It's ridiculous to say that cause and effect is infinite. It must be there is a first cause.
Cause us to have jet effect as a cause. What's the cause of God?
What?
What's the cause of the first thing?
You mean Hashem? It's from his, everything is from his being in essence. There is no cause to Hashem. But even the first cause for all the causes cannot have a cause, because if it did, that cause would have a cause. Therefore, the first cause has to be a nothing. Because if it's a something, it means it has a cause. So to not have a cause, it has to be a nothing. And that's how we know we can understand that the creation is from nothing. It's not the same as the real feeling that everything is created from nothing, but there's a way it could be understood. And basically, the nations of the world can understand how Hashem creates the world from nothing through this process. But there are his chosen ones who rose up in his thought, who have a realization of it without having to understand it.
We're the nations of the world are the ones who can say, how did I get here? How is this?
No,
moment
that's
happening?"
not how, that's us. We say, oh, we came here for nothing. They, on the other hand, could understand how it happens through understanding. But we are able to grasp it and realize it. Yeah. Now, there are two levels. There is the enlivenment of godly energy, which that enlivenment comes through a ray of godly energy. And godly energy is designated as light. And that light does not exist in its source. That's what it means, something from nothing. Because, for example, in the flame of the sun, there is no ray of the sun. There's only a flame. So too, the godly light in the essence of Hashem doesn't exist as anything separate. And even that ray, after it emerges from that godly sun, is unlimited. It's a ray of infinite light, just like from the essence from which it spreads. Therefore, the light of the ray must also, in other words, what we're explaining here is that since Hashem is infinite, in order for there to be a revelation of anything, there has to be very powerful contractions of that infiniteness. So the ray itself, even though it's an infinite light, is a contraction of how the ray is included in the essence. And that ray, since even the ray is infinite, it has to be hidden from shining its essential shine of infinite light. Because since it's a ray of infinite light, its revelation would negate the existence of separate limited worlds. It's infinite. And if that infinite life would be revealed, there couldn't be worlds. And this contracted aspect of the ray, where the ray itself has to be hidden, is called the emptiness of the light, the Rikunios Haor. From this emptiness is finally brought into being the limited worlds, which are called as something. They are created and limited. There are a journey of 500 years between the earth and the heavens. So it's big and it's long, but it's limited. Since the ray is unlimited, the smallest glimmer of it would negate a separate limited existence. A world doesn't exist. And since this ray of godly light is completely hidden and completely contracted, like we said, it's called the emptiness of the light, a new light called a reflection or a generational light is enabled to shine. Finally, which is that light which finally enlivens the limited and separate worlds and creatures. So you have the light of the infinite. It's not the infinite himself. It's only a light, only a ray from him. But even that ray is infinite. It's called the infinite light. And that has to be completely hidden.
Well, what do you mean when you say hidden? Is it hidden or is it contracted again?
I'll give you a, well, contracted and hidden might be the same thing. But I'll give you an example. You have a magician. The magician dresses up in a black clothes, and he puts on a black mask and a black hood and black gloves, and he stands next to a black curtain, and he picks up the lady in the silver dress. So it looks like she's flying by herself, but she ain't flying by himself. It's really him doing it, but he's completely hidden. You don't see him at all. So it's the same kind of thing. Hashem is there all the time. And that light, which causes the existence of the separate creatures, enlivens the limited and separate worlds and creation. But this emptiness of the light, which is called the tzimtzum, which is called the contraction, like you just said, it's not really empty of godliness, God forbid. It's merely a hiding of the revelation to the ones who receive their enlivenment. The godliness in it is hidden. The infiniteness of it's hidden to the limited worlds that become enlivened. But the essence of the light is never removed and shines in the limited place, just as it did before the creations came into being, without any change at all. And I'm wondering, and I'm not saying this is an actual metaphor for it, but I'm wondering if this could work. You have a blank page. And then you connect pixels on that page. And the connection of those pixels, that number puzzle, hides on the fact that really the essence is the page. But it's the page itself that's shining through all the existence of those designs, whether it's a Shakespeare play or whether it's a smiley face, that are coming out from that page. And the page never changes. It stays the white page. It's just that by connecting the pixels, there can be a revelation that appears separate from the page, but it's not really separate. In fact, the infinite light is what brings about two things. One, its own contraction and hiding. The infinite light hides itself, and the limit creation is brought about through the contraction is also from the infinite light. And since he is unlimited, he can do what he wants. Hashem is completely unlimited. Not just he's unlimited in outspread, he's unlimited in ability to hold his infinite quality back. Therefore, he can limit the revelation of his unlimited outspread.
So
Yes.
the where the infinite light becomes the emptiness of the light.
Yeah.
What world of the four worlds does that take place in?
No, I think it's before any of the worlds. It is what allows worlds to exist.
So where in the Seder selfless does this happen?
Mistama at first glance, and I'm only saying at first glance, will be in the Rishimu and the Kav, which is a level we can discuss, but I don't know if we're ready to go into it right now.
That's where spiritual becomes physical.
No, way, way higher than physical. Way, way higher than physical. It may even be higher than spiritual. In other words, for Hashem, Hashem is higher than physical and spiritual altogether. Physical and spiritual for him is all equal. And with this, we'll answer the question of the philosophers. Does anybody remember the question of the philosopher?
Yeah, every effect has to have a cause.
No, the question of the philosopher is two questions. Maybe
Yeah,
that's included.
Salil, it's two questions.
Two questions, correct.
Two questions. One of them is, how can an infinite being make things that's not infinite?
Limited stuff.
Yeah. And the second question is, once he has done so, how can he remain infinite and unchanged?
How does he remain on? Very nice.
I know,
Gimel
Flavi, I
Ella.
was trying to listen last time. I remembered it finally.
Gimel Ella is right in there. So how can it be there's no change in Hashem from before the creation to after the creation? And why? What's the answer? Because he does everything through a ray, which takes no place in his essence light. Like the ray of the sun does not exist in the flame of the sun or affect any change in it. Like the sun can light up 1,000,000 houses, cook an egg on the sidewalk, give Herschel a suntan, and grow a tree all at once, and the sun never changes because everything is done through a ray. So to Hashem, he never changes because all the creation is done through a ray. So even though there is a light and a ray which is drawn down to the world, because the whole existence of the ray is from the essence of the light. But the essence of the light is not completely grasped in that ray, allowing him to do other actions at the same time. You get that? Hashem is able at the same minute to kill the firstborn of Egypt and to cure the Jews from the bris. Because he's not limited in any way. He can emanate hundreds of millions of other worlds if that's what his desire is. His desire is to emanate 4 worlds. But if he wanted, he could emanate hundreds of trillions of worlds because he's completely infinite and he can do whatever he wants. Only he decided only the worlds that exist in their existing number. The proof is that even as things exist now, we see Hashem can do 2 opposites at once. He can tap his head and rub his stomach at the same time. Give a yo.
Oh, yeah.
Like at midnight, he cured the Jews and he killed the firstborn of Egypt. Or even a ray of the sun can blind a person who looks directly at it, but it brings light to a house through a window. And the sun never changed. On the one hand, it's burning the guy's eyes out. On the other hand, it's lighting up a room, and the sun never changes. So too, Hashem doesn't change in all. So that answers the question of philosophers. After he creates worlds, how is it that he doesn't change? Because he does everything through a ray. Isn't it brilliant? So even though he's causing the action of the ray at the same time, he's completely separate and removed from it, just as he was before emanating the ray. I was playing with the metaphor of an actor on television. The guy in the show is the guy, but when the show is being played, he's at home doing something else. He didn't change, even though he's working in these clothes and projecting this persona. No change at all. Like maybe when we see someone in a telescope, they don't change at all through my look, and they can even be doing something else. My seeing them doesn't affect them at all. Therefore, the one who projects the ray can be doing other things at the same time. So it's understood that with all the many effects of the ray, that one who projects it doesn't change and remains separate from all of these details. So that answers the second question of the philosophers. After he creates the world, how does he not change? That the infinite limits himself to the specific creature that he's enlivening. You can't put 10,000 watts into a 100-watt light bulb. So that the infinite has to contract himself to be able to enliven particular worlds, which have limits. Nevertheless, the light is only limited by the one who emanates that limited flow is infinite. It's only Hashem that limits that light, because Hashem has the ability to do whatever he wants. He could limit the outflow of light, or he can cause it to be outspread. It's him that hides himself to allow them bring out the limited revelation. Therefore, the infilling light's real being is the essence of the light itself. So the limited light that's in us and in everything that exists, causing to exist, causing itself to be, causing those things to be alive is from the essence of the light, which is hiding itself in order to allow a separate existence. And this is a third explanation of nothing to something. First, the first one, the ray is non-existent, meaning like the ray in the flame doesn't exist. For example, in the sun. And the ray itself, since it's a ray of infinite light, has to be completely hidden and contracted to allow a limited existence. I think we can understand it through, for example, a ray of light from the sun, how it comes through stained glass windows. The ray of light from the sun is a strong ray from the source of hydrogen explosion in the sun. However, when it hits those different color windows, the ones who receive it have a red light or a blue light or a yellow light or a green light. So that's a contraction of the simple light from the sun into these particular colors. 3, the limited existence is from the true nothing. But that limited existence that exists, all of the worlds and all of the creatures in the world come from the true godly nothing, the ineffable, ungraspable nothing of Hashem himself. So the level of nothing we're talking about isn't a real nothing. It's nothing that we can have any grasp of, any realization of, any imagination of. So it's called a nothing. It's the godly energy that enlivens us and brings us into being. For us, we have life, we have energy. But that it's godly, we don't really grasp. And that's called a nothing. Because no thought can grasp it. Even Adam Kadmon cannot grasp Hashem. Even the supernal, highest supernal emanation cannot grasp the Holy One, blessed be He. So in the final analysis, it's Hashem himself who creates and enlivens the creation, which is a really cool thing. And that's the meaning of Havaya is Elohim. Havaya connotes the unlimited aspect of godliness, and Elohim connotes how Hashem hides himself by following the laws of nature. Havaya indicates Hashem himself in his infinite being and all-encompassing ability. Elohim indicates the level where he hides himself in order to allow a separate creation. And it's all one. This allowing of separate creations and this higher than space and time and higher than limits is all one. Like it says, Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. Listen, Israel, the Lord our God is one. And that is up to here, the metaphor of the sun and the ray. But the metaphor of the sun and the ray has a drawback. You know what the drawback is?
Yeah, it doesn't
He knows.
explain how life, something can become the light.
Right, because the ray of the sun doesn't enliven anything. It only shines on it. So we need another metaphor, which is the soul, how the soul enlivens the body. Very, very good. Then we'll need other metaphors to explain different angles of the godly deal. You guys want to sing a niggun? You got the Grusian niggun there you want to sing?
What's that?
You said you want to sing a Georgian niggun.
I don't know. Mendel, do you know any?
Oh, he's got one. Byzantium is good. Hit it.
אחד יחיד ומיוחד היהוב ויהיה, 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 היהוב ויהיה, אחד יחיד ומיוחד היהוב ויהיה, היהוב ויהיה, אחד יחיד ומיוחד 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 היהוב ויהיה, דרירי אחד יחיד ומיוחד היהוב ויהיה, היהוב ויהיה, אחד יחיד ומיוחד היהוב ויהיה, היהוב ויהיה, אחד יחיד ומיוחד היהוב ויהיה, אחד יחיד ומיוחד היהוב ויהיה.
All right. Mendel, you're still with us?
Yeah,
Come
I'm
on.
still here. I'm still here, Bitzalel.
Good. Can they see you on the Zoom? We don't see
Yeah,
you
they
over
can see
here.
me. They can see me on
You're
the
very
Zoom.
hidden. You know, it's like
I know.
Hashem and the
I know, but I'm here. I'm just hidden.
hidden.
Yeah, I'm. That's because on Zoom I'm only Acharei. I'm not.
So what? You have an appeal for us?
Well, actually, if you don't mind, I would like to give an allegory.
Oh,
Oh,
an allegory. Oh, yeah.
Yes.
We wouldn't mind.
Yeah.
We wouldn't mind.
Okay. Well, the explanation is like this: when the Holy One, blessed be He, created the world, He created many wondrous and astonishing things in it. Meaning, He created many different forms. Some are concealed, hidden, and some are revealed. But
Sounds like a Gezintahait street.
yeah, but He saw that none of these beings could fathom His greatness and His magnificence, and they couldn't appreciate the greatness of His actions, even not for sure not the concealed actions, and even not the revealed ones. So therefore, He created a man, and He made this man B'Tselem Elokim. He made this man in His form, right? And so that the man has in him a parallels to all the different beings in the worlds. So this is like the mashal of a king who had many treasuries and vaults filled with every kind of wealth, gold, with silver, and precious ornaments and vessels and stones and pearls. The king, in his wisdom, he said to himself,
And old TV shows.
well, for sure, the real to reals. So he said to himself, how will my subjects know of my great wealth, my magnificence, and my greatness? So he made a single crown, and he studded this crown with every kind of precious stone, one stone from each of his vast treasuries. And he displayed the crown, and he said that no, for each one of these stones, I have many, many more in each one of my treasuries. Each one is overflowing with such treasures. And through this, he told them that they should be able to contemplate and understand on his greatness. So the same thing, when he made Hashem is like the king, he made all the worlds different from each other, and each world has numerous beings and creations. But he realized that all these creations cannot fathom all of this stuff. So what did he do? He made this crown, and this crown was a poison. The poison was this crown, and that's why it's made. It's called B'Tselem Elohim, as we in the form of Elohim, which, like we know, Elohim is how Hashem is enclosed in all the many creations from the upper worlds to the lower worlds. And that's why when he completed the world, he appointed the man to reign, to rule over the world, over all the animals and all the beings. But what happened was then when Adam Arishan made the sin with the tree of knowledge.
Hey, what a mistake.
Yeah, then this was taken away from him, so he should look just like the animals. That's why we have this animalistic soul. But now, in the times of Mashiach, we're going back to this original time when the people going to be the crown that properly reflects Hashem in all of their actions and speech and thought and all of their stuff. So that's the allegory for today.
Very nice.
Beautiful.
Yeah, this is from the book of Mashalim, Sefer Mashalim by Rabbi Yosef Gatilia.
I heard a mashal that's what you think is a ghost. I heard a mashal that I don't remember exactly how the question, but somebody asked a question. A lady is from a rib of a man. Chava was taken from the rib of Adam. So it seems like it's a negative comment on the lady. Her level is only from the rib of the man. So I saw somebody explain that I went into your house and I took all the pewter out of your house and I exchanged it for gold. That's what Hashem did when he took that rib and he made it into a lady. He gave us gold instead of pewter.
Oh, I heard a different explanation on that.
Oh boy, here we go.
I heard like this. When you go when you go to the butcher, right, and you tell him you want a piece of meat, he says, well, here's a whole cow. You say, I don't want the cow, I just want the best part, the rib. Give me just the rib steak. I don't want the rest of it. This is the same thing. The Eibishter, he took the best part and then he left the rest of the cow in the man. This is how I heard it.
Let's call it the rest of the bowl.
The bull. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so we'll close out with another version which you've heard before of my version of Ad Mosai. When are we getting Mashiach? If the mikveh was mashka,
If the mikveh was mashka,
and I was a duck,
and I was a duck,
I swim to the bottom and I never come out. Tell me how long?
How long
Do I have to wait? Can I get Mashiach now? Or must I hesitate? The mikveh not mashka, and I ain't a duck. When I swam to the bottom, I was swimming up. Tell me how long do I have to wait? Can I get Mashiach now? Or must I hesitate? Averster, I ain't lying. The people down here that are sick and dying. Tell me how long do I have to wait? Can I get Mashiach now? Or must I hesitate? Merciful King, all the work is done. Don't you think it's time we could have some fun? Tell me how long do I have to wait? Can I get Mashiach now? Or must I hesitate? We want Mashiach now. Should we do the sign off, nigga?
bam ba bam ba 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 bam bam ba ba
Da da
ba
da
bam
ba ba.
Bam,
Hey,
bam,
ya,
bam, bam,
mama,
bam,
mama. Hey, ya, 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 papa, ya,
bam, bam,
mama.
bam, 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 bam.
Ay, la, la, ya, ya.
Bam, bam, bam,
Ay,
bam,
ya,
bam.
mama, mama. Hey, ya, ya. Now come on, children.
Come on, children.
We're gonna have some fun.
We're gonna have some fun.
You ain't seen nothing like the Holy One. Tell me how long
How long?
do I have to wait?
Mm.
Can I get Mashiach now? Or must I hesitate? We want Mashiach now. You ready?
We ready?
Gezintahait, 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 my friend. Remember, kids, Gezintahait.
Gezintahait.